Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Ayleen with Medicine Walk. And for those of you who tuned in, no, your audio wasn't, it wasn't an issue with your audio. It was an issue with mine. And we've now got everything fixed and we've got everything working because there's a lot going on. So the really cool part is that once I got past that piece where I was totally mortified that there was no sound that went out, I had a chance to actually observe myself without sound. And for someone who stuttered, and for anybody who stuttered and overcame that, there is that always that kind of hypersensitivity to saying things right and to getting the verbal message out right. And the fact that I was able to look past that at what I was doing, what my body was doing, was the message that I was speaking in alignment with what my body was doing, and was that sincerity coming across? And I do believe that it was. So it is, well, it's always important to look for the gifts in every situation that you come into. Everything that you get has a gift to it. You just have to figure out what it is, because sometimes it can be a really, really important lesson. So for those of you who had a really great week, congratulations. And I hope things work out as you believe they will. For those of you who had a bad week, I'm really sorry. And know that while there isn't much to say now that could comfort, that, we just keep moving on. We move forward. And for those who this week has been a really, really, really bad week, I'm really, really, really sorry. Because this has been a time of a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, a lot of defensiveness, a lot of divisiveness. And it can be really tough to see what comes beyond that, what can come after that. Can any good come after that? And maybe you're kind of in a space where you're thinking, maybe nothing good can come from this. All we've got ahead is stuff that's really, really hard and really, really scary. So take a breath. For this space, let's just figure nothing bad is happening today in this moment. That in this moment, we're okay. In this moment, we're safe. In this moment, nothing has happened. So as long as we can stay in this moment, then that gives us a little bit of working room. That gives us that eye of the storm that I talk about. And it's really an excellent tool to be able to consider what it is that will allow us to expand that eye of the storm, so that whatever comes in, we don't have to be afraid of it. We've always got the ability to choose action as opposed to react. Every morning, usually at about 5:30 in the morning, my alarm goes off, and just a moment before that, my dog starts whining and hitting me with his paw, because that's the time that we go out and walk. Now, thanks to the time change, yay, it's a lot easier. I usually would have to wait until about 6:30. And then when we'd go on our walk, it would be kind of a rush because it would take an hour, and then I get back and then I've got to do stuff. Well, with the time change, first light comes right at about 5:45 or so. And the really cool part, what I love most about it, is I live up in the mountains. And there's this road that kind of is, runs parallel to the main road. And I walk my dog down that. And when we start our walk, it's still dark. And so it's a very quiet time. And, you get a little bit scared, and I hear a little rustling in the bush or in the brush and all of that. And I Well, actually, I'm not worried. People say it's like, well, are you worried about mountain lions? Are you worried about, wolves or coyotes? No, I'm actually, if there's anything that concerns me, it's skunks, because I would really, really, really rather not get skunked and then have to explain why I have to take the next 2 or 3 days off work. But it's a very quiet time. And as I walk, I am able to watch the day begin at very first light. And then all of a sudden, the sky starts getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And I actually get to walk into the new day. And there's something very special and very powerful about that. There's something important about noticing when a transition happens and actually taking the time to witness that, slowing things down and waiting to watch that change happen. It's sort of like watching the sunset. And when you have a chance to just sit and observe the sun just sinking down, and it starts getting darker and darker and darker until it's all the way night, that's a very special time too. For me, first light means infinite possibilities. I have no idea what's going to happen that day. And it may be something really cool. It may be something not so cool. But I know that it's going to bring me something new. I know that I will not finish that day the same person I began it, because even something small can make me think, help me to grow, and teach me a lesson. So as we look at what it is that we get out of surrendering ourselves to the new day, to accept that anything could happen, then we can accept that it's not about what happened yesterday. It's not about holding on to fear of what could happen because of what did. It's not about clinging to old pain. It's not about clinging to old fear. It's not about telling ourselves really hard stories. It's about a new day. And then when we hit twilight, which if you've ever been like camping or out in the desert and you see like a gazillion stars up above, and you think as the light slowly fades and the stars come out, I mean, the stars are there all the time, but we just don't see them during the day. And then as the day slowly fades into night and it's just kind of comes up and the stars become brighter and brighter and brighter, that's the point when we can end the day. We can let go of what it was, the things that worked, the things that didn't. I mean, you consider if you've got something that you need to do for the next day, go ahead and take care of that. And you don't cling to it. Figure out what you need to do, figure out what you were meant to learn, and then disregard the rest. Because dragging one bad day into another day, all that is wanting a replay of emotions that don't serve you. Resentments, insecurities, mistakes. I don't think there's anybody who at some point does not wish they could have a moment back or have a day back to make another choice where they made a mistake. So what do? How do we fill that space? Now, on the last show that I did, the silent show, I was talking about a question that had come up in the comments, and it was from a lady named Carolyn, who was asking about the idea of selfless giving. And this is a really cool concept. The idea that you give without expectation of receiving back. And it's also called seva. And seva is literally giving of yourself because it's the right thing to do, because it makes the world a better place, without any expectation of even so much as a thank you. Now, how does this relate to what's been going on this week? The fear that can come from it, or maybe the excitement, I don't know. How does that relate? Well, it relates because if we get rid of something, if we allow ourselves to release fear, to release hard stories, it's a good idea to fill that space with something else. We have absolutely no control over what is going to happen. Honestly, there's nothing that anybody can do today to directly change what has happened. And whatever your political viewpoints, if you believe it, if it holds true for you, then, I honor it for you. And whether I agree with it or not, I may not, or I may. But whatever the case, if there's something in your life that is uncomfortable, if there's something you cannot control, if there's something that's making you feel helpless, one of the best ways to deal with that is choosing an action that doesn't make you feel helpless. Giving to others, making other people's worlds a happier place. If you're worried about your world becoming a very unhappy, very dark place, the best thing you can do is bring light into it, to allow yourself to see the bigger picture. Because no matter how things ended up, good people will still always be doing good things. Strange people will continue to do strange things. But you as a person can decide that you are going to make it your mission each day to do one thing to make the world a better place. Nothing shines brighter than a light in the darkness. And that's you. That's something you can do. And it doesn't take much. We can choose love. We can acknowledge that maybe things are not as happy as we would like them. And we can be honest with ourselves over what we're feeling, because that's an important part of being able to move through a really tough time, is to acknowledge, man, I am not in my happy place. This is not good times. So once we acknowledge that it's not good times, once we realize, you know what? No, this isn't working for me. Then we can claim our power to say, you know what? I don't care what's going on. I am going to make this world a better place. I am going to move things forward. Because the thing is that it's very much about perspective. You could talk to a whole bunch of people about any given topic, even the election that just passed. And some of them may say that it was fantastic and it was wonderful and yay, go team. Others may say, oh my gosh, that's it. We are really in a lot of trouble. And this was a horrible, horrible thing. It's all about what your perspective is. When I get up and I'm walking and I enjoy that moment of seeing first light and then watching as the light gets brighter and brighter and brighter, technically the sun is not rising. The earth is rotating to meet it. So when you consider from the perspective of the sun that it's not doing anything, it's watching the earth turn and face it from a different side. So if we put on our, SPF 1 million sunscreen and park ourselves right next to the sun, and we're sitting and we're looking out at the solar system, we, from our perspective, would think that all those planets are dancing around us. And that would be a different perspective. Let's say we decided that we wanted to move out to the center of the galaxy. And we looked around and we saw all those other stars, not just ours, but all the other ones. Then from our perspective, everything else is moving. Everything is spinning. And if we even move it further out, and you were sitting at the very center of the galaxy, and if you could perceive everything around you, you would see as there was a gentleman named Carl Sagan who used to talk about billions and billions of stars. And you could see all those billions and billions of stars and the probably trillions and trillions of worlds that move around those stars. And you would be at the center of it. And yet, from your perspective, everything is moving around you. Now, also consider that even when you're not moving, if you were standing absolutely still, you're on a world that is not only rotating, but it's also moving around the sun. And that sun is moving around, our solar system is moving around in space, actually at a pretty fast clip. So there is no point when you're truly stuck. There's no point when you're not moving, even if it doesn't feel like you're moving. So what do you want that movement to feel like? How can you realize how far you go? How can you realize the movement forward that you have? Well, you can realize it by doing something nice. I love riding on trains. And even whether it's a BART train, a light rail, or one of the big cross-country trains, an Amtrak train. Often you don't realize how fast you're going unless you pass another train. And then, because now you have a point of reference, you can see how fast you're going. But without a point of reference, you don't know. So as you look at what it is that you want to move through, because the idea is that these things happen and the job is to acknowledge it, figure out what you need to do to be able to move past it, and then set that action into motion. I know that a lot of you are really hurting over what happened over the election. And I don't want to put a whole bunch of energy into that. But I do want to acknowledge that I get it. And I'm sorry. And you're scared. And it's okay. Because we can go there, we just don't have to pitch a tent. We can realize, wow, this so did not turn out the way I thought it was going to. Because from someone else's perspective, they have a whole different view of it. As a species, we are blessed with the ability to have differing opinions and differing viewpoints. It actually makes us stronger. It allows us to discuss things. It allows us to move into that place of, well, I may not understand how somebody feels, but I can always talk to them about it, and maybe I can understand. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know we're going to be okay. And I don't say that. That's not one of those fake it till you make it moments. You hear the saying, fake it till you make it. I don't need to. Because in my heart and in my mind, in my spirit, I know we're going to be just fine. Because we always have been. We've made it through 100% of what it is that has come across. And we're here. We're going to make it. It's going to be okay. It doesn't have to be scary. It's like walking in the dark before first light, because there's that little bit of time that as I walk through, I hear stuff, around me. I hear things moving, and I don't know what it is. And yeah, it can be a little scary because it's like, is it a skunk? Is it a skunk? Is it a skunk? But there's nothing there in the dark that isn't there in the light. And if I can allow myself to be calm and just keep walking, I know that eventually the sun is going to come up. Day follows dawn. Twilight follows day. Night follows twilight. And dawn follows night. We are creatures that are designed around cycles. We have the cycles of the seasons. We have our own bodies respond to the seasons of the cycles of the seasons. And, being female, go girls, we have cycles that are affected by the pull of the moon. We are interconnected with everything around us. And the only real constant is that nothing stays the same. Different can be terrifying, and it can be enlightening. It can create growth, or it can create frustration. The trick is that the more you resist, the more the feeling will persist. So resist resisting. Do what you need to do. If there's something that it's like, okay, I've got all this energy, where can I put that into a positive place? Selfless giving is one place. If you're worried that the world is going to go into a very hard, scary, angry place, put some light into it. Allow yourself to find joy in making someone smile. Because selfless giving does not have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to cost a whole bunch of money. It can be a smile to someone. When I walk my dog, whenever anybody passes me, whether they're walking on a bike or in a car, I always smile and I wave. And there are people who actually pull over because they've said that it's so nice that one of the first things that they encounter on their day is someone who's telling them good morning or waving to them or smiling to them. And if I can make someone's day just a little bit brighter at the beginning, maybe the rest of the day isn't quite so hard. And we can each do that. Embrace acceptance for what you cannot change. And make the commitment that what you can change, you will. I always think that the amount of energy that I put into something needs to be proportionate to the level of control that I have over it. If I have no control over something, putting energy into it, putting fear into it, putting anger into it, that energy goes nowhere. That energy is just wasted. And it just kind of dissipates. It doesn't serve me because I'm just holding on to something that I can't control, which only makes it more frustrating. Accept what it is that you cannot control and embrace what it is that you can. If you can't bring it in within yourself to feel that you can save the world, you can help one person. You can create good feeling. You can donate some old clothes to a shelter. You can support organizations that do the things that you would like to do, that are like-minded people, the causes. That is how the world becomes better. It doesn't become better or worse based on leaders and politics and all of that. It becomes better or worse one person at a time when that one person understands the huge difference that they can make. We're going to be okay. No matter what, we're going to be okay. And like I said, that's not, fake it till you make it. I honestly know that. And it's not even what I believe. I know it. We're going to be all right. We're going to move forward. People will be uncomfortable. Some people may even be unpleasant. But we're going to move forward. We're going to take care of one another. We're going to make sure that people are able to be warm and comfortable and feel loved. Keep that focused in your mind. And what's going to happen is that you'll realize that you're so much more powerful than you ever thought you could be. And the most important thing is you'll realize you're not alone. None of us are alone, ever. We are all interconnected to one another. We are each an amazing strand on a tapestry that is woven from one thread. So, my assignment, my recommendation to you, watch the sunrise and watch it set for at least 1 week. And in that moment, now, if you can't get out, or if you, for whatever reason, wake up early and just look out the window, because it's going to be dark. But wait. And after a while, you'll notice the light come. And then at the end of the day, find a quiet time where you can just sit and watch it go from day to night. Because you know what? After you do that a little while, that moment becomes very sacred. That is that place of letting go. When you see that light coming up, embrace the fact that that day could hold an infinite number of possibilities. And don't just dwell on the stuff that, brings you fear. Dwell on the possibilities. Dwell on the beauty that could be. Because that's all we've got. That one day. And as we move through it and we finish it, and as you watch the light fade into night, which is beautiful all on its own, as you watch that, let go of what it is that doesn't serve you. If you have one day, don't carry it into the next, because you don't need to. Dawn follows night. Day follows dawn. Twilight follows day, and night follows twilight. It is an endless cycle that nobody has to do anything to maintain. It just happens. Let it happen. Let go. Spread good in the world. And remember, we're going to be okay. I promise. So, thank you for joining me. You can share, like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe on the YouTube channel. And you can also go to my Medicine Walk with Dr. Ayleen on Facebook. And if you have any comments or questions, and Carolyn, thank you for yours, I will be happy to address them. And if you think that I am wrong, please tell me. I like dialogue. I like learning what people think. So, until next time, I wish you balance, and I wish you blessings. I wish you dawns and twilights and new days full of infinite possibilities, and nights when we can set aside all those things that burden us and expect a new day, because that's exactly what you're going to get. Take care, everyone. Love you.